Shalom, shalom. This brother Kazak just wanted to do a quick little video on the curses in Deuteronomy, and we go find out who really fit these curses. Cause a lot of people today think that the so-called white man that lives in Israel is the real Jew, that he's God's chosen people. But we go see, because it's curses in the Bible that the so-called Jews will go through, and the curses will be for a sign and a wonder. So we go start off with the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, start at verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So the Most High was talking to the Israelites through Moses, saying that if they don't listen to these commandments that he finna give them, then all of these curses will come upon them and overtake them. So let's start off with the first curse. Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. So think about it right now. Who cursed in the city? Who you see living in the worst conditions? Who living in projects, and got pissy hallways, probably got roaches, laying out on the streets, drug infested neighborhoods. If you just think about it, the only people that fit that curse is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the so-called Native Americans. The Native Americans, they cursed in the city because what they gotta live on. They gotta live on what's it called? Reservations. They had this whole land mass, and now they gotta live on reservations. So, and then it says, "Cursed shalt thou be in the field." Who was cursed in the field? Who had to pick that cotton from sun up to sundown? Who got their lands taken? Who got their fields taken? The so-called Negroes, they had to pick all the cotton. The so-called Native Americans and the Latinos, they got their fields taken when Christopher Columbus arrived over here. He took this land from the Latinos and the Native Americans. Let's go to the next curse. Verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. So back in the let's go back to the slavery days. All right, say two slaves got married, and then so the man, he betrothed the wife, he got a wife now, but it say another man shall lie with her. So say it's late night, it's dark, and you and your family, y'all in the cabin sleep, and then all of a sudden master or one of his watchmen, they come in and they decide that they want to have sex with your wife. You can't do nothing about it. You ain't got no power in your hand. That's why I say another man shall lie with her. I don't remember that happening to the so-called Jewish man. I don't remember that happening to him. I don't remember that in his history. They never taught that in school. Because that's all they teach in school is white history. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Let's take the White House for example. The White House was built off the backs of so-called African American slaves. So they built that house. African Americans never got to stay up in there. Yeah, we built that house and we didn't even get to dwell in it. Sometimes the slave master had the slaves build their house. and the slaves will never get to step foot up in there unless they finna be a house nigger. It say thou shalt plant a vineyard and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. All right, let's go to the Native American man first. So they planted all these vineyards, showed the Spaniards and the white man how to plant all this corn, how to take care of it, how to take care of all these crops. But they didn't get the Native American man, they didn't get to reap any of them crops. You know, they got betrayed by the so-called white man, the Spaniards. They got betrayed. A lot of them got killed off, got their land taken, received smallpox, got dogs sicked on them, got their kids killed, and a lot of them got hanged, put to death. Let's go to the Negro. Thou shalt plant the vineyard and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. We planted all these fields in slavery, through slavery, and we didn't get to gather none of that stuff for ourselves. All that was for the profit of the so-called white man, our slave master. Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. So whose sons and daughters was given unto another people? You know, I mean, that's common history, that's common knowledge. The Negroes, you know, we'd be on the plantation. We don't know how long we got with each other. We wouldn't know how long we got to spend with our family, because at any moment the slave master could come in and be like, I just sold your daughter, or I just sold your son to this plantation across the road, or across the state. We wouldn't be able to do nothing. It say, thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. If anybody saw the movie Roots, when Kunta Kinte, his daughter, got sold, he couldn't do nothing about it. All he could do was stand there and just let her get sold, let her get taken off into another plantation. So that's a curse. I don't remember the so-called white man. I don't remember that happening to his people. I remember him doing that to our people, but I don't remember that happening to his people. Let's go to another curse. Verse 37. Thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall send thee. So the Most High said we was going to become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword. What's a proverb and a byword? So-called nigga, spick, wetback, you know, porch monkey, coon. Those are proverbs and bywords. What they call the Native Americans, savages. They call them savages. So the Most High said that we would have these curses on us for a sign and a wonder. And so and since they would be on the Israelites for a sign and a wonder, the only sign that it's showing on is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But we ain't gonna speak too soon. We gonna keep going through the curses to see who they fit. Verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. So who was having kids and got them taken into captivity? The so-called Negro, we was having kids and they got taken into captivity, like I just said earlier. The Latinos, they had to go into captivity when the Spaniards came to this land. A lot of the Latinos were getting shipped off to Spain and Portugal to be slaves over there. A lot of them got sent to some islands. So, I mean, that happened to us. Verse 43. The strangers that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. So we go fast forward a little bit out of the history. We go to present day. The stranger that is within us. So say take the so-called Arabs. The Arabs, they could come over here. They could get a store real quick, get a loan real quick, own a gas station, become a doctor, anything, and they could get up real high. But when the so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, when we want to do these things, we got to jump through all these hoops. We got to give an arm and a leg just to be great. That's why I say the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Because we at the bottom of the totem pole in this society. Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness. Now hold on. Who gotta serve their enemies in hunger and in thirst? When we want clothes, we gotta go to the so-called white man. When we want some food, we don't own no McDonald's. We don't own Wendy's. We don't own no Checkers. We don't own no Walmarts. We don't have no major restaurant businesses. We don't have no food chains. None of that. So we got to go to the other nations for that, because they the only ones own it. They the only ones got the power to because we don't have none of that power. The Lord said all that power is gonna be taken away from us if we don't serve. If we don't do His commandments and serve Him. So it said, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. If you want your license, you gotta go to the so-called white man. Social security number, all that. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Now let's see what a yoke of iron is. That's a yoke of iron. They put a yoke of iron on the so-called Native American men too. Led them away captive. Let's go to the next curse. Verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother. So it was a time where you could walk up to your brother and greet him, give a brother a handshake, and y'all would be cool. All that. You could probably invite that brother over, for watch the game or something like that. But the Most High said, the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother. So when this curse was put on us, say go to present times, you'll be walking down the street, see a brother, and he looking at you crazy. Like he looking at you like what this nigga looking at? Like he trying to box or something? You got eye problem, brother? What's going on? Like now he trying to check it out. Now he trying to not a brother might pull out a gun on you or a knife or something. So that's a curse that's put on us. That's black on black crime. Your eye being evil toward your brother and toward the wife of his bosom. What that sound like? Domestics. And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Who known for leaving their kids? I know a lot of people that ain't grow up with their pops in their house. I'm one of them. So you feel me? That's why I say we the people that fit these curses. But this the one that hit home right here. Because I never seen a white man. I never seen this curse. I never seen a white man go through this curse or any other nation. And say, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So let's get the context of Egypt first. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So when the Israelites was in Egypt, they was enslaved under the Egyptians, and the Lord used Moses to get them out. So it said the Lord is putting Egypt synonymous with the house of bondage. Bondage is another word for slavery. So let's go back to Deuteronomy. And when you see Egypt, just remember that Egypt means bondage. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt, which is bondage, again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondmen, slave men, and bondwomen, slave women. And no man shall buy you, meaning no man will redeem you out of these conditions that you go be in. But who went into slavery on ships? Wasn't it the so-called Negroes and the Latinos and the Native Americans? Was that not us? I don't remember the so-called Jewish man going into slavery on ships. If anybody know, let me know. Correct me. But I don't think you're going to be able to, because it's not no accounts on that. So yeah, I'm just trying to let my people know, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that we are the chosen people of the Most High. And it's time to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments in these last days. With that being said, I want to say, Kal Halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai, which means all praises to the Most High Yahweh, in the name of the Son, Yahushai, so-called Jesus.